area. The dude's playing out there, so it's not like anyone else I can hear him.
I had to turn the microphone on. Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna. Y'all can hear me.
Yeah.
Y'all know what I'm
So I
saying.
think some people down there were waiting for you to.
Oh. All right. Well then.
Let me make a run and tell him.
Sponsored by PBR.
They didn't actually sponsor. Don't sue me, PBR.
Yes, Brandon.
Right.
No, I got a cease and desist in the mail once. It was not cute.
What?
I used Tom of Finland art for a shirt, and I got like a letter from New York. No, it was a phone call. I got a phone call from New York, and I was just like, I made it! Oh my god! And I answered the fucking phone, and they're like, yeah. So how many units of that shirt have you sold? I'm gonna ask you to send the full inventory to us, and please cease and desist all sales of this product.
Wow.
And I was just like, well, it's a good thing I launched it yesterday, and it's a good thing I had 3. So I sent them 3 and I took it down. Yeah. But I mean, I get it. Tom of Finland, iconic artist, he died. There's like a whole fucking company dedicated to, licensing out his art. So it makes sense. Okay, well, hi. I saw y'all walking across the street and I was like, alright, come on, squad. You see y'all. Anyways. Well, nice to see everyone again. Okay, so, for everyone who doesn't know, my name's Kyle Kilgore. You can find me on literally any platform conceivable at Kyle X Kilgore, last name Kilgore. Yeah. So that's me. I'm a clothing designer in Tampa, Florida. I specialize in fetish wear and avant-garde evening wear. I got a studio just a couple blocks over in Ybor. I've been doing it for about 5 years. 5 years, I think. I've only had a physical location for about 2 years. I opened up my first physical location and actually the first designer studio boutique thing in downtown Tampa last year. And then, Tampa was on that bullshit, so I ended up leaving and I got a studio in Ybor, and I've been there ever since. But Merch Culture reached out to me about speaking at this event. We were supposed to be talking about the art community in Tampa, where we're going, where we're at, what we're doing, what we're not doing, and collaborations amongst artists and all that fun stuff. And I really believe in that. I believe in Tampa. I believe in Tampa art. And I do believe that the future of fashion and the future of art as a whole is collaborative and sustainable. So I got a couple of quick topics I'm not going to bore you guys with too much. I'm just going to kind of blast through, but I hope I can give everyone some good little tidbits. So if my phone could not be blocked on me. So first things first, I'm going to speak on fashion because obviously that's what I know. Surviving in the volatile market that is in Tampa, as a business and as an artist is very hard. We don't really have the direct, how would you say, artist to consumer kind of market avenues that most major cities have, which means that us being artists, we also have to be our own sales channels. We have to be our own brands and we have to be our own marketing platforms, which is a lot to put on an artist because, bitch, I'm not a PR person, I'm not a fucking marketing exec, and I love that in my job. But we gotta do it. So the thing that I've kind of noticed in the couple of years that I've been doing this is the best way to kind of survive in a market that doesn't just have free avenues for everyone and anyone to do anything. No, you're good. To do anything is to find a market niche. And when I say this, I mean, we all like to believe that finding a market niche is going to pigeonhole us and is going to set the bar very low and it's going to set the ceiling very low. It doesn't, because we as artists can reinvent our own brands, our own aesthetics, and our own images at our own leisure. But what being in an aesthetic and market niche really does for you is it weeds out the competition. You know, we are in a city that doesn't really have much of a art focus. So your best bet is to find an aesthetic focus, to find a cultural focus, to find something very, very targeted so you can directly access those customers right off the bat. For example, I do fetish wear and avant-garde evening gowns. Name one designer in a tri-state area that does that. I will wait. And what that's kind of done for me is I am the go-to guy for that. If you were looking for a custom harness, if you were involved in fashion to any loose capacity, you will hear my name. They will refer me, I will be referred to you because I'm the only one, because my niche is so specific. As I'm able to kind of grow and expand outside of, you know, this direct Tampa market, then my product and what I do will diversify. But as it stands right now, it's my bread and butter and I'm sticking with it. So I can stay in my niche and stay in my lane and do very good at my niche and take over my niche, or I could be very broad in my designs and my aesthetics and everything I do and try and take on the entirety of the Tampa market and the entirety of the Tampa, what do you call those people that you're trying to be? Competition. Boom. Yeah, so I could do that, and that's stupid. Like, I don't got the budget. So, yeah, no, definitely find your aesthetic niche and then just hone in on it. Easier to find your target demographic and easier to stay on top, period. But touching back on what you said, also at the same time, don't view competition as a problem. Competition is going to exist in any market no matter what you do. And as far as competition is concerned, that's a business concern. That's a sales concern. It's not an art concern. So when you're talking to a fellow artist, you're talking to a fellow designer, you're talking, you know, whatever, you guys aren't competition, you guys are friends. You can exchange information, you can exchange knowledge, you can exchange resources, and you guys should be very, very friendly. Competition is only a numbers game. It's not real life. We don't need to sit on the internet and bash one another and talk shit and go to other people's exhibits and criticize them, you know, below our breath. It's petty, it's childish, get over it. Because, you know, the good book says, bitch, man is not, what is it? Wait, hold up, I got this one. No man is an island unto himself. Try and be by yourself the whole time, we'll see how quickly you drown. So yeah, no, definitely establish yourself in your niche, and then destroy your market in your niche, because you only gotta beat out like one or two other people, and you already know who you're talking to, so it's kind of easy. Into the next point, employment gaps and opportunities in our local fashion economy. Normal fashion economy, local fashion economy, non-existent, but in the fashion economy being non-existent, it means that the giant ecosphere that is the fashion world is riddled with holes because we don't have an ecosphere of fashion. So, as you would see in, you know, major fashion hubs, we'll use New York because that's a really easy one. You've got fashion designers. They make clothes. They make cool clothes, and that's their job. You've got marketing companies, and they represent retail brands. That's all they do. That is their specialty. That is their entire portfolio. And they work with the designers to market the designers. Then you have your showroom directors. They are on the ground. They hunt for the coolest, most indie, edgy designer shit that they saw in a garage in the backwoods of Brooklyn that's the next best thing, and they put it on their showroom floor, and then they sold it to, you know, FKA Twigs because she's a weird bitch and she was like, whatever. But that's their job. Again, we don't have that ecosphere. That's not a job that we have. And they, obviously, those people work with fashion designers to make sure that their products are sold and make sure their products are moving and make sure their products are seen. Those showroom directors also provide direct market feedback to the designers that the designers wouldn't otherwise get. Obviously, if you're a showroom director, the person who's buying from you doesn't give a shit to hurt your feelings because it's not your product. You're just trying to move it for somebody, so they'll straight up tell you, hey, the inside of this looks like garbage, or girl is too thick. It's hot. I can't wear this. So the showroom director's responsibility is to communicate that market research back to the designer. And the designer is now able to either be a brat and say, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, or conform to market standards and actually get his product sold. And that was way too in-depth on that specific one, but whatever. And again, we also have the magazine editors that have fashion sections that are always looking for content, they're always looking for something to talk about. So, like I said, there's a giant fashion ecosystem that exists in other areas, but it does not exist here. And that's not a depressing thing for us right off the bat. It kind of is, obviously, but if you really think about it, what that really means is we have endless possibilities as far as the fashion industry is concerned. If you want to be involved in the fashion industry locally, if you want to actually do something, look at other cities and look what they're doing. Look how their economy functions and find out what we don't have and take it over. This city's small. Sorry, it's tiny. In the grand scheme of metropolitan areas, this is still podunk. You don't have a market to beat. If you open up a showroom, you'll be the first and the only. Done. If you open up a PR agency that exists solely for designers and creatives, you'll be the first one, you'll be the only. If you open up a modeling agency that's exclusively for, non-binary and alternative looking models, you'll be the first and the only. Again, find your mark, find your niche, and then dominate it, because there ain't no competition in it. So, I guess as far as fashion is concerned, and being involved in it if you want to or whatever, I think the best bet is to look at the whole ecosystem that is fashion as a whole and find out what you excel at and find out what is interesting to you, do your due diligence, do your due research, and go after it. Sorry, there's more things in the fashion industry than being a fashion designer, and honestly, fashion designer is not a glamorous job. But our job is to make it look glamorous, so I guess to some superficial way it is. I don't know. I've done it for 5 years. It's awful. But anyways, so into my last point, which is global contemporary industry shifts. Again, doubling back on what you said about collaboration and all that fun stuff, I think it's really important that we look at, I think it's very important that we stop looking at where the industry used to be. The industry of retail, the concept of retail is gone. I know it's not completely gone yet, but let it go. Let it go, hon. It's tired, it's done. The way of doing things in the 90s doesn't fucking exist. I'm sorry, the reason we all fell in love with fashion was because we were looking at Vogues and shit that were produced in 1998. It's 2020. It is 20 that doesn't exist. Malls are gone. All these high-end retailers, they've closed out 50% of their shops globally. What we look at as far as fashion and how we experience it, fashion shows, thanks Caranova, they're gone. The whole concept is gone. So we need to reinvent it and we need to accept that. And I think moving forward, what we're seeing from the industry, locally and not, is finding creative ways to present collections, digital fashion shows, digital viewing parties, isolated fashion shows, separated fashion shows, and stuff like that. In some other examples, I guess. Retail, because obviously fashion, retail, hand in hand. Come on now, it's gross, duh. But retail, it's an online game now. It's an online game with nothing but drop shipping. If you don't know, drop shipping is where someone carries a product online and they just have a picture of it, and then when they get the order for it, they send it to you, and then you ship it out from where you are. And they never actually have the product on hand, ever. But that's it. And using those networks and using those webs to kind of sell to a global audience, strictly digitally. Sorry, no one cares to get their products in Barney's. Barney's is gone. No one cares to get their products sold in Nordstrom. They're closing up shop and going out of business. The malls that they're all in, half desolate. Let it go. Let it go. So when I say collaboration is important moving forward, I mean that when we're doing things and when we're trying to reinvent these concepts and when we're trying to compete with these major brands that are very established, the grassroots thing doesn't really work anymore. Like it worked back in the 90s with the New York club culture and everything like that. You can go to a thrift store and get a fur coat, throw some pink on it and call yourself couture, and then, Versace would rip you off in a week. That's not how it goes. We've seen the biggest amount of billionaires ever, the human race has ever seen. Neighborhoods don't pop up organically. They're literally multi-billion, trillion-dollar conglomerates that buy up entire neighborhoods and put them up overnight. Us as independent artists will never compete with that, and we need to stop thinking that we will. But what we can do is we can join together with all of our combined efforts and all of our combined resources to acclimate to what the industry is shifting towards, to acclimate to be able to compete with these bigger brands. I can't, me, myself, and I can't put on a massive fashion show. I can't get, Carol from South Tampa to show up to my, shopping event and buy a $1,000, $2,000 dress. But you can. And that's why we ended up working together. He's a great guy. He does the art events at Epicurean, by the way, if you didn't know. But yeah, so, reach out to your community, access the resources around you, exhaust the resources around you, because you can't do everything by yourself, and that's just not realistic. And also, bear in mind that there's a giant conglomerate hovering above your head that is going to move into your area, it's going to capitalize off of the culture that you helped build by living there, and then it's going to whitewash everything, and then blow through it, you're going to get priced out, and then you're going to have to go to the next neighborhood and do it again. Remember that. So, instead of being a bitch and rolling over and taking it, find a way to reach out to those conglomerates that are moving in your neighborhood and capitalize on them the exact same way that they're capitalizing on you, if not more. Work with your community, work with people. Everyone has money is not a resource. People are. Do it. That's it. I wish I had better words, but do it. We've got the internet in our hands. That means no one's based anywhere anymore. We're all global. Expand your network, expand your resources, and work with people around you. Everyone has something that they can help you with. People love helping, and you can help someone with what they're doing. So yeah, that was my little tidbit. I guess I'll give a cute wrap up. Shameless self-plug, go to my website, kilgoreofficial.com. I dropped a whole bunch of fetish underwear, and some Halloween masks, and some regular Corona masks. So yeah, check me out. Also, if you're curious about anything fashion related, I've been in the city doing it for a hot fucking minute. I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but if you know fashion, you probably know me in Tampa. So, I think I'm a good resource. And I love helping people. Literally reach out. If you need anything, 2 cents or anything, reach out. I'm down. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Deuces. Thank you. I'm gonna go slam another beer now.
Wait.